Hi all, welcome to our Tuesday Live every Tuesday morning on the Solely Rested channel at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be here talking about something on Michelle's mind related to homesteading or simple living, and I am brought you out to our little area where we do our boiling. Unfortunately, it has not been a good season for maple syrup in our neck of the woods, although I hear it's pretty much the same across the country. It's just been a very short season. It was a very, very late start. I mean, I'm talking at least 4 weeks later than typical here on our homestead, at least. And once it got started, it was a slow start and then it stalled. And we haven't, as you can see, we're not boiling today. We haven't been boiling for many days. So I was going to show you some live boiling stuff going on, but unfortunately we need sap to be able to do that. So I thought I would just show you some filtering technique that comes in handy for us. Why filter? How often to filter? How to filter? Lots of questions. Our cats are happy. I don't know if you can see them the way the sun is. We have barn cats that help greatly with our rodent problem, but they're friendly cats too. In fact, I think Mr. Bingley wants to say hello. Well, how are you? So, how often to filter? You want to filter at every stage that you can. I'm the author of Sweet Maple Backyard Sugar Making from Tap to Table. That's coming out October 1st, and it breaks down all the steps and makes the filtering clear to you as to when to filter. But really, every stage that you can filter your sap, you want to be filtering it. Why? There are minerals in the sap, natural occurring minerals, that when you boil it, separate from the other parts of the sap. And depending on the season, the tree, the time of the season, even your location possibly, and definitely the process that you boil. If you use a turkey fryer like we do, you're going to have more buildup of these minerals than if you have a flat pan. There's benefits to both, but so those minerals that separate from the sap build up in your syrup if you don't filter them out. Even if you filter at every stage, certain times you're going to have niter in your syrup. See that 1.5 inch deep layer at the bottom of this beautiful jar of syrup? That's the niter, also called sugar sand. You can tell why it's called sugar sand. It looks like there's sand sitting in the bottom of my syrup, which isn't really a nice thing to give to somebody if you want to give that jar away. If it's for your own consumption, don't even worry about it, honestly. But even so, people who are making it just for themselves, it's just this battle. Every sugar maker faces this battle of this niter, and you want to conquer it. And when you have a jar turn out like this one, it feels so good. No niter, yay! So let me show you what we do to filter that often helps. As you can see from that first jar I showed you, it is not a perfect solution. There is no perfect solution unless you're a professional. From what I hear, I mean, the professionals still have horrible trouble with the niter. It builds up in their pans and they have to stop the process sometimes in the middle of the process to clean their pans because they don't want the niter in their syrup. But they have amazing filters, professional $1,000 press filters that do an amazing job of getting those minerals out before they bottle it. So unless you're a pro though, there really isn't a permanent solution. You're going to have niter in your syrup. So join me next Tuesday, and we'll talk about what to do with the niter so that it's not a waste. It actually isn't a waste. And what to do when you do have it built up in your jar like this, what to do with it then. So we'll talk about that next week. But for now, let me put you right here and let me show you what we do for filtering. First of all, we have a stainless steel milk pail. We actually use this for milking our cow. We have 2 of them, and we also then use it for syrup. So it's a very well-used pail around here. My husband made these nifty W's. He just bent the metal to be that shape, and we have 2 of them here. So if you put them inside the pail in an X shape, and then you take your felt filter. I know a lot of people just starting off use coffee filters. And I get it. If this is your, let me see how far back I can go so you can see me. If this is your first time ever making syrup and you're just doing a little batch and you just want to try it, sure, use a coffee filter. But if you think it's something you're going to be doing any length of time, I highly recommend getting a felt Orlan filter. They are very reasonable and they do such a better job, and you're not going to have all the complications you have with the coffee filter. But here's the thing. For years, well, yeah, I guess definitely our first season that we had these, we were simply pouring our syrup right into there, letting it filter through, and getting so flustered that it would get filled up in the filter long before it filled through because the niter was getting filled up in there. But if you see, I mean, you just have this much surface area, right? If you can imagine, when the syrup's in there, it's down here covering the bottom, and you only have this much of it actually being filtered. All this top part of the filter, the syrup wasn't even touching. Well, years ago, someone gave me this tip, and I love it. If you pull up the center of your filter like this, now look at how much surface area you're going to have for your filter when you pour the syrup in here. Instead of just this part filtering it, you have all this deep moat and all the way up here that's being filtered. So the filter is going to be much more effective. You put that down on top of this little W that my husband made, and you now have this wonderful moat to filter out your syrup. Also, should consider getting some pre-filters. We often put 2 or 3, maybe even 4 of these on top. Do the same thing, pull this up, make your moat, stick that down in, and then we literally just get clothespins to hold the pre-filters on well while we're pouring the sap in. When this gets filled and the sap stops flowing through, take that first pre-filter out, put it in a bowl, and later you can bother with washing it. Let it keep filtering. When the next one stops, pull that pre-filter out, and you get the idea. You keep going, and hopefully, before you get to the end, you still have smooth flowing syrup, and your filter is going to effectively, hopefully, get out all of that niter. As you can see, it will not always do so, but we do our best, and this setup definitely at least doubles, if not triples, the effectiveness of the filter. So I hope that helps. Please join me next week and we'll talk about what I do with my niter when I have the niter. Have a fantastic day in your neck of the woods.